So the WoodCircus project started a few years ago in late 2018, and it is ongoing. Um, this project is a coordination and support action, so the research part of it is smaller, and it is primarily in support of the more, say, policy-oriented network formation and business support activities that are underway. Um, the project is really focused on embedding the forest sector in the circular economy. And in that context, it's important to think, that, okay, the construction sector is a major component here. There's over 18 million jobs related to the construction sector. It's 9% of the EU's GDP. The wood construction is a huge part of that as well. I mean, and not as much as some other types of construction, but it's still very significant. And if we look at woodworking in general, about 70% of those products are used in construction or for furnishing buildings. However, there's massive environmental and social impacts related to the construction center. Uh, Extracted materials, about half of those that we extract in Europe are used in building. Half of the energy we produce is used for buildings, and about 1/3 of water use in Europe is related to buildings as well. This, of course, ends up in a lot of waste, and wood wastes aren't particularly well handled right now. Um, so there's a lot of both research to do in that area and also some policy and practice adjustments to deal with there. And that's really the primary focus of this project, is improving how wood wastes are produced and handled in relation to the construction sector. The consortium for this project is quite nice. It's a mix of research institutes from across Europe, many partners from InnovaWood. Also, it has several companies and associations as well, so that we reach a wide impact and have a lot of input from a variety of different stakeholders in the sector, ranging from product development to architecture. And one of the main objectives of this uh, project is to find out what's going on in the industry in general. So we do this essentially using our own knowledge, and then by, of course, asking companies what they're doing and what the current status of their work is. We use this information and as well as an open call to identify the best practices in the industry to find out what we can take from these, what we can borrow, what we can transfer to other organizations to improve the overall performance. And so we start by taking our general knowledge, preparing questionnaires and interviews, and talking to companies about what they're doing, using that information to find out what's working best, what might differ between different parts of Europe, and find out how we can take those and move them forward. Then we have an open call where we asked companies to apply to have their circular practices recognized, or their recycling or very efficient use of wood type of practices assessed by our team. And so we had a nice turnout there. We see those. Then we take the best of these and we can do a performance evaluation in terms of their business practices, their environmental impacts, their social impacts. And then, of course, we do a sustainability assessment after that. One of the main outputs from the first work package, or the second work package, sorry, is this overall SWOT analysis that really focused on what's going on in the different regions of Europe, what is going to be similar between them, and how do they differ, what are the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's quite extensive. There's a lot of very small text for you here. If these slides will be shared later, it's a bit more manageable. The good practices collection are results of, say, this open call and the identification of companies through the interviews and questionnaires that we mentioned earlier. You see here some photographs and images from companies that applied to the open call to have their practices recognized, and you can see there's quite a variety of things here, ranging from doors to windows to different types of building products to different manufacturing techniques. And different scales of production and even manufacturing technologies that help improve the recovery and minimize energy and minimize material use as well. One of the ongoing tasks is actually this performance evaluation. So we have created this metric that is still being revised. We have an advisory board that we have presented this to, and we have quite a lot of feedback from them and from within the consortium as well on what we can change here, what will make more sense, what will make it more meaningful when we have these assessments done. And so in here we have business practices, material properties, the sustainability of the production, where the energy comes from, how resource efficient the production is, if there's any issues related to toxicity, if the lifetime of a product is longer, how waste is handled, a wide variety of things here. And so this is being revised, and we will be applying it to different case studies, and then once again validating that it makes sense, and if we need to do any revision, we can continue to do so as well. Then in addition to that metric, we will do a standards-based life cycle assessment of these best practices as well as trying to identify these different boundary conditions that come up in different regions and how the value chains vary and need to be accounted for differently in different regions of Europe within the wood value chain. One of the later work packages, work package 6, is related to policy analysis. So there's currently a lot of policy related to the circular economy, to forests, to wood use, to construction, and organizing all of these and finding what works, what doesn't, what's active, what needs to be adjusted, for example, to make it fit with the Green Deal that we have now, is quite a significant piece of work as well, and that is ongoing and one of the main tasks in the coming future. And we will use all of this information to basically make a policy white paper from which we can extract relevant policy briefs. And now with the advent of the Green Deal, one of our main priorities will be fitting the wood sector into Green Deal policies as they develop and are adjusted and modified. And so this will be one of our main tasks in the near future, and is currently one of our main tasks. One of the things we are very aware of is that as people are creating these policy briefs and policy white papers, it can be very hard for members of the wood sector, the companies that are actually doing the work, to feel like they have been part of it or recognized in these policies. And so one of the things that we would like to do is really come up with these profiles from the industry so that we can say, okay, your company is like this, you have similar problems, you're doing similar things, you have similar goals, and you can see yourself in our policy that way. And we will have recommendations for each of these sort of identities within the wood sector. So we expect there to be quite a variety of these, and we want to focus and shape our presentation accordingly. Some of the tangible results that we will end up with here are good practice database, this recommendations for business, for policy related to the circular economy and sustainable management, innovation practices, communication practices, a research, technology, and development plan of tasks that need to be accomplished, challenges that need to be solved, for the wood sector to really become a strong player in the circular economy and the Green Deal. One of the other major things that will come from this network or this project is hopefully a long-lasting network of companies and researchers and associations that can continue to work on these circular economy related issues. And I think this is one of the places where InnovaWood really will have a strong role, is in carrying on this network. So again, a brief overview of some of the main deliverables, this research plan that I mentioned, the policy white paper, the network. We'll have a high-level conference where we present these outcomes at the end, the good practice database where we will have these generalized good practices or in some cases, some specific ones for that are transferable to other parts of the wood sector, to other regions in Europe than where they might be coming from now, and then interface those to the RMIS as well. So thank you for my part, and also I need to thank Uwe for helping prepare these slides, doing most of the work for me. And I should note that the coordinator of this project is VTT, and Christine Richthoff is the leader of the project. So thank you.